Okay, so my project that I came up with is I want to look at spinal injuries, all different kinds, so spinal cord, fractures in the bone, disc issues, disc degeneration problems. And so my main focus is I want to look at the genetics and what causes weakness in the spine, because weakness in the spine leads to a lot of these injuries, especially in athletes. I had weakness in my spine and eventually ended up with a torn disc, and I'll probably end up needing a spinal fusion in the near future. So I want to look at that for a lot of other patients. I know that happens for a lot of other athletes, but there isn't a lot of treatment for adolescents that don't involve major surgeries, things like that. And so I'm hoping that looking at the specific gene can either cause or result in a screening process or different treatments that focus more on the gene and less on super invasive surgeries. So spinal injury prevention is the goal here. Most of the literature I looked at points to treatments of specific spinal injuries and not the causes of them. A lot of people are looking at, how can we use physical therapy in different ways, different surgical techniques, different techniques. A lot of the literature I looked at really pointed towards treatments and not so much causes, and I feel like if we focus more on the causes, we can prevent it before it ever even happens. There's really not a lot of literature looking at the genes, which I was really surprised at. I thought that there would be more looking at the genes when it comes to spinal cord, considering that is your central nervous system. It controls your entire body. You would think genetics would play a major role there, but there really was not a lot of literature pointing towards that. Excuse me. So let's look at some of the causes that I found. Digging deep into the literature, let's look at some of the causes that I found of injury. Okay, so some of the causes are gonna be different types of trauma. So car accidents are a big one, and in younger kids, so children, when they have a weak spine, they haven't been able to develop those muscles yet, and they fall down a lot. Kids fall down all the time, but when they fall and hit, at a right angle, they can break their neck, they can injure their spine, injure their discs in their spine, cause that cushion to kind of just give out and deflate. So trauma is a really big one. Another one is going to just be overall weakness. A lot of people don't focus on strengthening their core. They do the six-pack abs, but they don't work on the obliques. And there's a really important muscle that goes all the way, I don't know if you can see me, it goes from your belly button all the way around your back. And that one literally stabilizes your entire spinal column. And so if that's not going to be strong, you're going to have a super weak spine, super weak stability, and any little thing, sneezing, coughing, tripping, falling down the stairs, falling out of bed. One of my huge flare-ups that I had with my back, I tweaked it falling out of bed, and then I sneezed afterwards, and it was just a hot mess of pain. So a lot of people can have injuries from just general weakness and not strengthening the right muscles. So having that knowledge is going to be really important. Along with weakness is, as you get older, your spine gets weaker. It's just a natural occurrence. Your muscles atrophy, and your spine does the same sort of thing. It gets much weaker. And so I think focusing on your spinal strength as you get older is a really big thing that a lot of the articles that I read really pointed to. There was lots and lots of geriatric articles saying, spine health, get healthier, get in the gym. You're never too old to get in the gym. You're never too old to do a plank. That's really gross. I'm so sorry. Okay. And then sports-related injuries. So any kind of jumping sports, running sports, hurdling sports, launching yourself in the air sports, even swimming, are all, any high impact or contact is going to cause a lot of potential for spinal injury. So then let's look at the consequences of spinal injuries. So spinal injuries have lots of consequences. People do not understand or realize how important your spine is and spine health is. Your spine encapsulates your central nervous system. So if this is your spine, your central nerves go straight through it. It's your spinal cord, and then they branch off to your entire body. So if you injure that spine, even just the slightest little bit, you're pulling on that cord, and you are knocking off that function for different parts of your body. So like your motor functions, the way that your body moves, like me putting my fingers here right now is all motor function. If I were to injure my spine up here from this level up, I wouldn't be able to do this, and this is such a simple function. Also, your sensory functions. So if I were to pinch myself out, I can feel that pain. If I was to injure my spine, I would not be able to feel that pain. That can cause a lot of other problems with not being able to feel pain. You wouldn't know if you broke your hand, you wouldn't know all kinds of things. So spine health is super, super important. If you were to injure your cervical spine, that is so, so, so dangerous because everything below the injury is compromised. So if you injured C2, C3, which is your cervical spine levels, you could potentially shut down all of your vital organs from there down, which would be your lungs, your heart, your kidneys, your stomach, your pancreas, your liver, your excretory system. So all of that would be compromised, and that's super, super dangerous. And so, paralysis, of course, so you wouldn't be able to use your arms, your legs, you'd be on a ventilator, and that's just a super horrible way to live. So those consequences of spinal injuries are so, so, so severe. So my project is looking at, before any of that horribleness even happens, looking at what gene causes the weakness to begin with, how can you strengthen it before something bad happens, how can you strengthen your spine and the muscles around it before something horrible happens in order to prevent that. So really my project is focusing on prevention and eventually prevention, but initially looking at the gene that causes the problems and how to correct that or how to turn it on or off. You know, genes express different ways, and so just looking at the expression of it. So I think that's all my PowerPoint slides. Yes. Okay, thank you.